Hey everyone, Merric here. We're back in the wonderful world of Tides of Torment, and we're gonna num our way through this. What is that? I'm rested. Ah, neat. Levy, what are you doing? Oh, that's right. We were gonna go through this door. Yes, this door. Oh, this place looks weird. Fettles are status effect conditions. Okay, it's called a fettle.
Let's go.
I understand. What is this place? This place looks cool. Min of Tan Liang.
Go.
Touch it. The machine is a chaotic assemblage of metal tanks and tubing. A work table mounted with spare parts stands beside it and is connected by wires to an oddly familiar sarcophagus and other devices. Examine it. As it turns out, there's very little to examine. Every access point in the machine has been carefully sealed. Some of the hatches and panels are worn with use. They are likely accessed by the Order when they perform maintenance on the machine. There's gleaming, ornate locks with twisted keyholes, unmarred by the scratches and nicks of careless, everyday use. You run your hands across the surface to feel the ghosts of another person's hands doing the same. Try to determine why the machine looks so familiar. 70%. Did it. What? The memory opens like a gaping mouth and closes around you. A hot wind pulls at your robes. Jagged grit claws your eyes. Squinting through the storm, you see the machine half buried in the sand. Curiously, you wedge open a panel. Inside is a sphere, sparking like a jewel, but soft to the life drains from you into the sphere like blood from a wound. The machine is stealing your life! Growling, you return the favor, ripping the sphere from the machine and regarding it with cold eyes. Ooh. The memory releases you abruptly, leaving you panting in front of the machine, which is not the ruined monstrosity your predecessor discovered in the Archoplasian ruins. You know, however, the orb is sealed somewhere in the machine. Interesting. As you sort through the components on the table, there aren't many, and nor are there any duplicates. These appear to be the only spare parts of the machine. Let's do the machine again. Knock on the side of the machine again. Huh. Leave it alone.
Yes.
Alright, well, we discovered another memory. A synth sarcophagus could hold a large human. Its surface is pitted. It survived a sandstorm. The original color is worn away. Neat. This is that lady. This is the Order of Truth. Cause the shapeless lady's over here. See her? I'm not gonna talk to her though. A small wireframe pyramid sits on the base of a polished wood. Lying inside the pyramid is a dull sphere of silverish metal. Examine the sphere. Suspended in the wire cage, the sphere is almost perfectly sized to fit in your palm. The gaps in the wiry mesh are large enough for you to reach through, though not large enough for you to pull the sphere out. Examine the frame. The frame appears to be fixed in place. It's constructed of organic material grown in a manner similar to bone or coral. Thinner vein-like strands of the material wind across each of the triangular sides. Something strikes you as odd about it. You can't quite determine why. We'll go 50-50 on that one. Oh, yeah. Success. While examining the frame, you try nudging it gently and it shifts almost peculiar manner. You focus on the moving frame in various directions and discover that it can easily be lifted straight up and off the base and lowered back down onto it, but it refuses to move laterally, even while being held mid-air. Touch the base. The base appears to be made of a slab of lurid red stone. On close inspection, you recognize it as petrified wood of the same kind. An inscription has been written on the base in front of the pyramid. Touch it. You extend your hand towards the sphere. Thinner strands along the side of the front of the cage react towards your thicker frames at the edges, creating an opening large enough for the sphere to fit through. Take the sphere. You pull the sphere out of the frame through the opening facing you and immediately begins to glow a scintillating blue. You pause a moment to make sure there are no other effects and then try to put it with the rest of your belongings. At some point during the motion, sphere simply vanishes, only to reappear within the frame once again, dull gray. Apparently, taking the sphere will not be quite so easy. The inscription is in an alien language. It's been burned into the wood and filled with luminous substance. Though you know you haven't seen the language in your own short life, as a cast-off, it seems familiar. We'll go 30%. Yeah, we'll try again. Alright, we got it that time. We're burning a lot of our intellect, though. At distant memory surfaces, you're standing before a large metal cylinder that looms a meter or two above your head. The cylinder is a time capsule of sorts. You are convinced that what lies within is critical to your latest experiments. The problem, alas, is the capsule is locked, and the only clue to opening is a series of strange glyphs etched into its sides. Glancing around, you see dusty tomes, faded banners, metal scraps, and dozens of other objects, all featuring the same strange glyphs. You spend a lifetime collecting every trace of this language that could be found, and decades of study have finally led to this moment. You look upon the glyphs and you know their meaning. Step forward, you reach out to the cylinder and prescribe by the etchings, and it flares to life. Shaking off the memory, you look down at the inscription and realize the meaning is now clear. The crimson dawn greets the seeker, the violet dusk sees the search's end. Alright, take the sphere again. The sphere, you pull the sphere out again. Once again, it glows brilliant blue before disappearing and returning the frame. After a little experimentation, you discover that the sphere's position seems to reset whenever it moves beyond a particular distance from the device. As long as you can keep it within that distance you are now, you can hold on to it. Take the device with you. The device is far too bulky, as if reading your thought. Min looks over and shakes her head sadly, muttering something under his breath. Oh, Min didn't like that. Oh, interesting. It's changing colors based off how I take it out and put it in. Dull orange. Okay, wait, what was the inscription? Crimson greets the seeker, and violet sees the end. Crimson. So I'm gonna say lurid red is probably. And then cool green, so we want it lurid red, deep violet. So would crimson be lurid red and indigo? That's a blue. Yellow, green, brilliant blue, orange, dull orange, deep violet, lurid red, deep violet, violet hue, bright orange. Okay, so changes to lurid red, changes to bright orange. Lurid red, cool green. So lurid red, blazing orange, dull orange, deep violet. Crimson Dawn, so it has to be crimson first. Greets secret, and a violet dusk reaches the end. So there's violet. Interesting. Alright, if we return it there, it'll be lurid red, deep violet, interesting. That one's gonna be an interesting puzzle to play with here in a minute. We'll get back to that. I think the goal is to get it out
I'm ready.
in the manner that it describes.
Let's go.
Let's go talk to Ming. He's already looking at me, shaking his head. He's back? I wonder what brings him here now. Priest, tall, thin, narrow slashes of oil decorate his unlined skin. They land on you with tiny flicking motions. I recognize that it's been 10 years. I don't know we ever spoke, but you were the ones visiting Salamir all the time, right? Working on some sort of organic machine. Who's that? Oh, he says, frowning. Maybe I was wrong. Familiar is one of us. An Aeon priest, still cycling around trying to remember what he sees before. What brings you to the Order of the Truth? It's certainly him. Am I wrong, or is there more going on than I'm aware of? What's the order? Good question. Chews his lip for a moment, framing his words. We live on the surface of the vast labyrinth of layered ruins packed with relics and artifacts. Windows into the past. Some people are content to find them, use them, and sell them. But not the Order of the Truth. Not the Aeon priests. We want to understand the Numenera, study them, and point at them and argue about them. Now in the West, the Order of the Truth is much bigger than this little enclave. It's a vast organization led by the Amber Pope. Out there, our words turn heads of kings. He shrugs. Around here, we occasionally get discounts on equipment from local vendors and a free cup of tea. Not that I'm complaining. Okay, what are you doing out here? It was founded 300 years ago by a Virgin Nano named Devitiku. That's a statue outside. He governed, and you could say ruled, over the Order with more force than you see in traditional chapters. He set us up in the spire, handpicked new members, and chose them for particular projects of his design. We're not quite that organized these days. For better or worse, leaders are chosen by consent of other priests and priestesses, and they don't have a say in what everyone works on. They just deal with the politics and the paperwork so that everyone else can focus on their ruinous side projects and hideously dangerous experiments. Which is to say, I'm the leader because I'm the only one who admits we need to eat. Leadership is a lonely path. I wish that were true. I'm rarely lonely. People visit me all the time, usually furious and waving their hands, but someone has to deal with the world outside these walls. The silver tide rises. The slave families, for some reason, aren't interested in funding wild, endless experimentation. They like results, especially weaponizable ones, so I review their requests, deflect crazier ones, and convince my colleagues to work for a living occasionally, and nod to a nearby machine. We also create some levies that guard the city, though that's seen more as a responsibility than a favor these days. You should refuse, follow your own interests. Dominant tides have shifted. I agree with you on some days. Others, I'd rather be chasing crazy theory. What else do you want to know about the Order? There we go. He squints at you, and then the ceiling. It's possible, he says at last. Defiticus's behavior matches stories I've heard about the changing god, but he hasn't exactly shown up here to pick up where he left off. If you're right, maybe he just lost interest. Are there a lot of priests? Yes, but they're not strictly here. Some of them are out on digs or various expeditions. We only have a few Aeon priests in the city right now. There's Salamir, who I mentioned before. Belazir studies the biomechanical life forms. Orth Fong is an experiment in inexplicable and malicious architecture that should be back soon. He pauses, ticking his fingers, furrowing his brow. And Snurf, of course, a visitant who's developed an interest in all forms of reproduction. It isn't one of us, and I don't think it wants to be. But we gave it space to work on its project, he leans. Don't go over there unless you've invented a way to scrub your memory clean. And Lan Uring, of course, he's been educated in the Order, but he's still looking for a discovery that will make him an Aeon priest. Let's talk about something else. What are you working on? That's a big question even on the best of the days. I specialize in mechanical Numenera, intelligent or not, but I haven't had much time for research since I started managing the branch of the order. I would be incredibly grateful if you did. Every other conversation I have revolves around how I'm running the order, or ruining it, I should say, or not doing enough to save the order. Please, ask me about wires and blinking lights. Tell me about the machine behind you. It makes levies. Guardians of the Sagas. Our records say that Leviticus found a similar device in the ruins of the Archoplasia far to the north. He convinced the city that a local version, a modified one, would be of use. In order to become a citizen, everyone at Sagas Cliss, even the ones born here, gives the year of their lives to the machine. It uses that borrowed time to create a levy. Seems fair. It's an elegant way to serve. No one should be forced to give up their lives. What if someone only has 1 year to live? They die the second entered the machine. Gold tides and blue tides? No, they never die in the machine, but it catches up with them a few days later. That doesn't happen very often. Sometimes I think the machine actually saves them, prevents them from meeting whatever fate was in store, but not always. At any rate, the levies created by the machines are nearly identical, and they only last a year. After that, they quietly return to the machine and dissolve into... His hand grips the air, trying to form the words gray gunk. It's incredibly unpleasant to watch, but they don't seem to mind. Fascinating. It is, and nothing is wasted. We just use the same gunk for the next levy. Good thing, too. I have no idea how to make more gunk. Anyways, that's the machine. Any other questions? Let's do that. Your what? I thought that thing was a myth, and you're trying to repair it? Where is it? Is that what he and Selimari were working on? I'd love to see it. I'd rather not say. Probably wise anyway. Do you have any piece of the machine with you? No. What a shame. In all honesty, I focus more on traditionally powered machines. Selimari has an experiment with organic machine construction. You might ask her about it. Let's talk about something else. Farewell. Alright, I like that guy. Let's talk to Koro over here. He seems pretty badass. You recognize one of the parties in this one-sided argument. Koro, the Star Seeker you met at the reef. He studies his boots, silent and miserable. The other is a tall woman in finely cut robes regarding the man with arch disdain. When I told you retrieve the falling star, I wonder if you'd heard return to me empty-handed, or with empty hands and excuses. I no longer need your services, Koro. Collect your things and go. What? No, Selimari. I searched the reef for hours. Whatever fell was long gone by the time we got there. And that is why you are unsuited for this work. Honestly, I don't know what I expected. I saw promise in you, but I also saw the flaws, and I ignored them. She spots you at the corner of her eye and turns to you, framing a sharp rebuke at your intrusion. Her anger turns to stark amazement as she sees your face. Adon! I haven't seen you in 10 years. 10 years! I cannot begin to imagine what your excuses might be. Our last night together was so incredible. What could possibly have driven him off? Uh-oh, knocking boots. I met a lot of people. I mean, can you remind me who you are? I fell in love with someone else. I'm sorry. I think that's the truth. If you want an apology from me, you'll be waiting a long time. If I became aware of a plot against my life, I had to flee. Let's tell the truth. The indigo tide. She blinks once, twice, a smile blooms. You are cast off, she murmurs, studying you from head to foot in an appraising and somewhat proprietary eye. Remarkable. This is rather like visiting a house you once owned and seeing new tenants through the windows. I've met members of your little family before, of course, trailing around in that shadow, looking for clues or trying to repair the damage. Her smile is genuine and somewhat sad. Her eyes linger on yours as if looking for any flash of recognition. I can help you if you like, but I need something from you first. Sounds interesting. Doesn't it? Well, it's a bit of a long pitch, so do let me know when you're ready to talk. Alright. Good. Curiosity about your origin is quite healthy. I'll be happy to share it with you once you've completed a favor for me. What do you do here? I study the ruins of the remnant world of the remnants of worlds past. There we go. When I have time, of course. These days, the Order spends more of its time helping the city within its own research. Okay. Of course, she draws your attention to a map of the Reef of Fallen Worlds. On her workstation, it taps a gilded ornate structure not far from the dome containing the resonant chamber. This is the Antioch Lazaret. It has been hopelessly sealed since the dawn of the Ninth World. Until, she smiles, I managed it in a week or two. It was quite simple once you figured out the trick. I've been slipping in and out at nights, investigating the technology within, taking notes. She frowns. Then, more recently, I discovered that the structure was sealed again. Do you think one of your colleagues is responsible? I doubt it. First of all, I haven't told them. The Order's been trying to open the Lazaret for centuries, and I want it for myself now. Secondly, my colleagues are nosy and somewhat competitive in a charming, amateuristic fashion, but none of them have the stones for out-and-out treachery. I believe someone tramped inside with no regard for the dangers and managed to trigger a failsafe that resealed the structure. She flicks a strand of hair from her eyes. I need someone to reopen the Lazaret and, she waves a vague hand, handle whatever nonsense trespassers have stirred up in their wake. Why not send Koro? I suppose I could do that, she says. Koro stirs hopefully. If I wanted him dead by sundown and the entire structure looted by strangers or in flames. She arches a cold eyebrow. Alternatively, I could hire someone competent. Koro sags. Poor Koro. He was just trying to do his job. He can't help that I outsmarted him. Besides, I can reopen the structure. The concern is what's waiting for me inside. She holds your gaze for a moment to make sure you understand. I want you to deal with whatever's gone wrong in there so I can resume my work. Needless to say, I would also prefer the structure undamaged state as I left it. She smooths her robes. Well, there it is. Will you help? Yes. Ooh, I got a metallic eye. Excellent, she says briskly, but relief flashes across her face. She hands you a metallic stalk with a flower, like ridges along the length and a mechanical eye at one end. This, as you likely know, is the Isle of Mlox. And how I originally accessed the structure, the fact that Lazaret recognizes this organ as an authorized user implies that its builders of this machine were intelligence. Maybe a machine civilization from before the dawn of the Ninth World. She smiles, brushing her hands. Well, on your way, do watch your step of the reef. It can be quite dangerous. Please, Thelma, Koro edges beside you. Give me another chance. I can handle this. I have to win her back. Her respect, I mean. Right, her respect. Let him try. He shoots you a mistrustful glance, but otherwise continues pretending you don't exist. She says, looking between the two of you. Serena considers you both, then sorts through her work table, picking up a metallic eye. You're welcome to try, Koro, she says, and handed the eye to him, but holds on to it as he tries to take it. This is your last chance. If you come back empty-handed, you better be dead as well. Trembling, Koro pockets the eye and leaves, eyes downcast. I'll prove myself to her, then she'll see me as more than just a mercenary. I may have gotten that guy killed. But hey, if he goes in and clears the way for me, I'm okay with that. She watches him go and sighs. He's going to fail, of course. It's what he does best. Okay. Oh, she carefully composed mask. What is it? What is it? I'm not quite ready to issue a definitive answer on that topic. I suspect it was once a place of healing or a quarantine from a machine intelligence. Even if I'm wrong, it is a way to find many, many life forms. Few remnants of prior worlds are ever so intact. It wasn't, she says, but since I suspect someone or something got trapped inside, she shrugs slightly. Be careful, and do try to avoid breaking anything. Alright. Ah, that contraption. I'd be delighted to help, as I was before, but I'll need you to do a little favor for me. Yeah. She lowers her voice. If you seek assistance from the others of the Order, do be careful. I suspect one of them is an informant for Minerva. Too many of our finds have been pillaged by her thugs. Who or what is Minerva? The simple definition would be she's a crime lord of the Bloom, but she's quite more than that. In all ways that matter, she rules the Tangle Cesspit, and her spies are everywhere. Okay. You think there's a spy in the Order of the Truth? Almost certainly, she says, losing interest. But I let men worry about that. Spies aren't a problem if you never share your secrets. Later.
Fine.
I think it's Snurf. Snurf! Slouched before you is a figure clad in dusty, unremarkable robes, loose folds through the cloth. Shift. Okay, you can't help but notice the size and shape of its enormous digits changing as it tinkers with a bizarre-looking device on the table. It glances up to you, its eyes the size of your palms. You realize it is a visitant, a being from another world. Oh, it's an alien. Greetings, fellow sentient, says nodding with studied respect. I will be with you in a moment. The mechanical fingers contract and dance independently over the surface of the device before it adjusts things. There! I am Snurf, guest of the Order of the Truth. What brings you to my workplace? How do your arms work? Not quite sure. He's raising them for your inspection. Extra digits whirl out of the mechanical palms in a somewhat nauseating wave and disappear just quickly. They seem to be as sentient as either of us, but obedient so long as I keep them busy. Otherwise, they scramble about while I rest, touching things, picking locks, strangling the odd rodent the visitant size. I've forced them to take up knitting. Tell me about yourself. Your curiosity honors me. I came through the bloom from another world, and to be absolutely honest, I was exiled for inadvertent sacrilege and perversion. I would imagine that you were curious about my people's reproductive process at this point, he adds placidly. I'd be happy to describe it. Yeah, sure, it sounds interesting. It is, though it is far from the most esoteric method I've uncovered in my studies. It's a rather complicated topic, however, so let me know if you're ready to speak in length. Yeah. We're going to actually just skip through this. Yep. I surrendered my arms to create my children. They grew to maturity. Then I discovered a multi-humanoid figurine. Did no more than glance at it and fold his arms before its eyes opened. Last thing I remember, I woke up in the arms. You see now, my children, thinking I had disowned them, disowned me. My people were... Okay, hold on. That's interesting. They cast off their arms and legs. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that wasn't fair. I'm not sure it was. My work was difficult at best when I lacked arms. Perhaps the artifact heard my frustration and thought to ease it. A moment's weakness can cost us so much. At least I found other ways to take my mind off the loss of my family and my people. It was only when I began visiting other worlds that I learned that most species do not reproduce by severing their limbs. The discovery fascinated me, and so I began cataloging various methods of reproduction found throughout the void. It was only when I found my way to Sagas Cliffs by the way of the Bloom that I was offered a place to work here in the Order of the Truth, and there you have it. That is actually quite fascinating. What are you working on? Minor project of mine, something to widen the boundaries of my research. It scans for unknown reproductive processes and displays them for their studies. The device clicks. Watch. The transparent images of two goat-headed humanoids appearing over the device. At first, it seems like they're wrestling each other. After a moment, you realize it's a mistake. Coupling, marker, fascinating. A visitant begins taking careful, angular notes in unfamiliar language. Scan thoughts. There's quite a lot of motion involved there, isn't it? You're going to be rich. What? No, the device itself would not be for sale. I'm writing a book, however. Alright. Later. The thin young man smiles hesitantly as you approach. You notice some metallic ovoid protruding from his skull, nearly hidden by his disheveled hair. The fingers on his left hand tap nervously on his legs as he speaks. I'm not a real priest yet, if that's what you're thinking. Usually visitors only talk to me because they think I'm a priest, but I'm still a novice. He plucks the threadbare spot of his robe. Is that an implant on your forehead? It's not just on my forehead, not just in the skin, I mean. It's bonded with my skull. He blinks a few times before he realizes he hasn't answered your question. It keeps me awake and alert, and I don't get tired until it runs out of power. Well, what powers it? Dreams. The scarier ones, the better. I can't remember the last time I had a good dream, actually. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, though. Which area of study? What? You want to know what I'm working on? Are you sure? Yeah. I'm designing an intelligence, but not the normal kind. Not just metal or dependent on dependent intelligence rigging systems. No, it's larger than that, stronger. Land himself seems to be getting stronger, raising as he speaks. You hadn't noticed before, but he's actually taller than you. The idea is this: an intelligence can find, test, identify, and fully understand Numenera. There you go. We can unlock the secrets of lost civilizations. His eyes are gleaming now. He raises a trembling fist. Do you understand? If we do this, we can break the chains binding us to the past and turn them into reins which will steer the future. God will notice that your plan is long on Merric, short on specifics. It seems useful. No one will get hurt testing Numenera on themselves anymore. Wouldn't having a machine test Numenera take all the fun of playing with them? I'm gonna go with that one. I have a plan, but it'll take more time and money. The fervent gleam slowly fades from his eye. It's only a theory, though, for now. Okay, I don't have the funding, not yet, but I've studied machines with men when we can spare the time, and he likes my ideas, even if he thinks they're impossible. I think he's disappointed I'm not a real Aeon priest yet. I should have the money by now. I was told they'd keep paying me, even after the first time. It sounds like men is being too kind to you. Don't you want to be one? Impossible seems harsh. And inaccurate, he says, regaining some of his lost fervor. Once I'm an Aeon priest, everything will change. Only full Aeon priests have access to the Order's funds. I can use them to build a full prototype. Men might protest, but he'll understand once I get the design right. Just need to get the design right, that's all. What do you need to be a priest? You have to make a major discovery. A mystery that's remained unsolved for a long time, but I've spent too much time on my own research. He looks at his feet. I haven't gotten anywhere. I'll tell you about something I've discovered. You can claim it as your own and become an Aeon priest. What does it become from? Remind me of forehead, which area of study. Farewell.
On it.
Well, I found the spy. Rubbing his temples with grease-stained fingers, the tall priest nods to you. We're gonna go with that. We think so, but not because we've seen people in dark cloaks creeping around. He lowers his voice, but not enough for the anger buried in it to be completely hidden. We've lost dig sites to her thugs. Maybe people too. We can't be sure because we never find any traces of them. He rubs his forehead with stained hands. We'll catch the spy, only a matter of time. Alright, well, I know who your spy is.
My scintillating wit was lure enough to bring you back, I see.
See, I like her, so I'm really tempted just to get her on my team. Why did you choose to come here? Where else would I go? The underbelly? Here at least I have access to the mines that might challenge me, not to mention their libraries. The Order of the Truth, combination of brilliant minds and the most rigid set of ethics you've ever seen. Or so they'll tell you. Between the two of us, they eat from the hands of the slave families and would never dare cross their benefactors. What I'm saying is that you should watch your back. Yeah. Will you travel with me again? Let me consult my sisters? Yes, we will join you.
I'm ready.
I finished here anyway. Remove the sphere from the right opening. Makes it dull orange. Deep violet. So do you think it needs to go through the whole pattern? I don't know. I might need to do some digging on that one. I'm interested in that puzzle to see what I can get out of it.
It is done.
Alright, well, we got a companion. We made some progress, and we have another quest.
In this world, then.
So I'm happy about that. Can you tell me about Koro? He's a knave, a blackguard, and clever. When it comes to Numenera, nothing close to myself, of course. Where we are right now, she takes a quick look around, sizing up your surroundings. He's tried to kill us, hasn't he? And he's a dangerous fool, and well to be rid of him. How are things holding up? You have your charms, and they're a fair few more than most. I suppose I could say I enjoy your company. We're beyond such trivial panderings, of course. What's your story? Oh, you know, this and that. Lady raised in high society becomes renowned intellectual, goes on to humiliate her peers, etc., etc. She glances at you as if gauging your interest. Of course, I am exceptional, but my story is less so. I would bore you to tears, no doubt. What do you hope to accomplish by traveling with me? So direct? I shan't be coy either, then. You're a sire of the changing god. Was a nano of surpassing ability. Your search for answers is likely to cross his trail multiple points. He must have researched the data sphere at some point, and I hope to study his work to address my own peculiar situation. She waves her hand across her body. I'm what you might imprecisely call a nascent cross-dimensional hive mind. What I must decide now is whether to continue this experiment. My sisters, you see, they are a blessing and a curse. One moment she addresses them, hush, you know it's true. I've thought it, and therefore you've thought it. We have no secrets from one another, she smiles thinly. You see, even in my thoughts we are not alone. We seek, let us call, closure of some sort, of our association, or of our individuality. Uncovering your sire's knowledge of the data sphere could likely determine my direction. If we cannot find a suitable home in the data sphere, we may have to terminate this process. But that presents pitfalls of its own. Okay. We'll finish this conversation tree and then wrap it up. She smiles gently. Such curiosity. Very well. Let me indulge you. She clears her throat. Some prior world or world seeded the atmosphere and near space in the vast network of computational and informational devices. I believe the ancients used this network to communicate with each other at great distances and perhaps across space through the dimensions. It is this latter application especially interests me, as you might imagine. If I could find the structure within the space that enables more direct mind-to-mind communication that will allow a true joining with my sisters, well, I should be happy to transcend this flesh, though it served me well. But is such a thing even possible, or even advisable? These are questions I have not found answers to yet, if such answers even exist. Where'd you grow up? Why, here! She holds out her hands in a complete graceful turn. The walls of Sagus were my cage until, like a bird, I took flight, figuratively, you understand. I speak of knowledge, not mere physical movement. I grew beyond the Grand Library in short order and was soon writing text for it myself. The library holds no answers to the questions I asked of it. Where'd all these echoes of you? They are me! We are part of each other, sisters across infinite realities. We share our experiences and power. What's the old saying? That experience brings wisdom. I must be the wisest person on Sagus Cliff, the wisest across countless worlds. Her laughter peals out. How'd you meet Allergan? I suppose there's no harm in indulging you, she muses. You've shown yourself competent in many endeavors, and this should be no different. She arranges one sleeve definitely. Allergan and I met when he came to the Order of the Truth seeking help. Naturally, I was intrigued by his predicament. More so than the man, she smiles, but absently. He had lost his family, you see, and sought their return. He had brought with him an odd frame of unknown origin that was central to his tale. The stuffed shirts of the Order were more interested in picking apart Allergan's story than they were examining the frame he had brought with him. The task fell to me, so I undertook it, and for that Allergan became enchanted with me. Eventually became lovers. He was pleasant enough in bed, I suppose, though he lacked any real enthusiasm. And the crying! She rolls her eyes, arms sewn dramatically across her forehead. This pitiful childlike snuffling when he thought I was asleep. She shakes her head in disbelief. His family is gone. There's no more he could tell me, and I had learned nothing worth telling him. You saw the end. I've moved on. Why were you with him? Guilt. For him, at least. He desperately wanted to save someone. For me, it was a matter of necessity, she sighs, shaking her head. It was my own research that led to this state, but despite the access to 1,000 worlds, I am no closer to achieving my goal, and my sisters were ever closer to plotting my annihilation. You see, in an effort to extend my own life, I chanced upon a version of myself that would end it. It's true! Some of my echoes seek to become the sole survivors, or to rule over the rest, and so I sought a way to return to my base state, if you will, a way to control my future. I had found some notes on your sire's of your sires. Notes that hinted at a machine capable of merging multiple selves. The concatenating various minds into a single identity. Naturally, it seemed a welcome solution to our predicament, but his clues as to a location were useless of the utmost degree. Allergan had met the man once, and it was more than I had to go on, and I was feeling less than patient. From there, you know the rest. Why do some of your cells want to kill you? She silent for several long moments. I don't know. I've tried to reason with them, but they are beyond it, or at least immune to it. They blame me for opening all of our minds to each other, but had it not been me, another version of me would have. In fact, it was a host of me that did it. I am not alone in this. Across countless realities, we came together simultaneously. I wonder sometimes, she looks used to searching for answers, would it have been better to be one of the other Castellegs, to have no choice in the matter but to be connected without my prior knowledge or consent, to have my memories, my secrets bared in thousands of other realities, knowing they could never be used against me, but aware all the same that they were known? She passes a weary hand in front of her eyes. So I understand those of myself who reject the change. I do. I no more choose to share myself with them than they chose to share with me. But that does not mean I long for their destruction, nor truly think it would have any great impact on my life here. And that is where we differ, at one point on which perhaps we shall always disagree. Fortunately, a great many others see the matter from my perspective. Okay. Oh, there we go. Alright, well, we've got a companion. We learned a lot. I'm going to go look into that little sunset puzzle, like the day cycle puzzle, and see what I can find. A little bit of research on my own in the House of the Order, and or the Order of Truth, and we'll go from there. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like if you have any comments, suggestions, some in the comment section below, and of course, if you have any kind of desire to see more like this, click the good old subscribe button on YouTube to let you know when I get fresh content out. All that being said, I'll see you next time.